So now I'm just going to start positioning and duplicating these fibers along the actual webbing here. So I'm just going to use the transpose tools and just draw them out and kind of position them either by dragging the middle circle or holding Alt and dragging the actual object. So just Alt and clicking on it and dragging, or using the transpose line and moving the middle circle. Now I'm really only concerned about the positioning here, so I'm just going to make sure it's kind of connected to the actual surface of the webbing, and then I can comb it out later or change variations on it since these are still going to be fiber aware objects. Also, I'm just going to be duplicating these to kind of position them. So I have this one drawn. I'm going to rotate it a little bit, and then I'm just going to move it, and then I'm going to come here and just hit duplicate. There's also a hotkey you can use, which is Control-Shift-D, which will function the same way. And when you hit duplicate, it's just going to generate a duplicate of that fiber. So this is going to allow me to just take the next one, position it, rotate it a little, do what I kind of want to do with it, and then just duplicate. And so just keep duplicating and moving these subtools, positioning the fibers in a layered-like fashion all over where that webbing is. Now, one new feature inside of ZBrush 4R4 is that eventually, after I have all these fibers set up in different layers, I can come through and group them by visibility and then just merge them together. And inside 4R4, now when you merge two sets of fibers together, they still remain fiber meshes. So if I merge these three together now, I can still come in and groom these actual clumps of fiber mesh. So you can also mirror them with Subtool Master, and they'll still keep their fiber mesh properties. So after I place some of these, I'll show that functionality and how we're going to go back in and kind of groom these to add a little more randomization after we clone this one all over the place. So I'm just going to go through and clone a few more of these so you get a kind of feeling for how I generated the fibers on the mesh. And then I'm going to do a merge together so you can see the fiber aware and merging functionality. So just same thing, just duplicating, using move, kind of position it where I want it to go, checking it to make sure it lines up, duplicating again, moving. So now I've jumped ahead a little bit. You can see I've been progressing on moving these fibers along the webbing. Another little transpose trick that you can do with the actual fibers is, so if I normally just I just was moving this around with transpose and then able to rotate, and it's giving me a function like this. But I kind of want it to bend the fiber along and kind of get more gravity to kind of pull it back down. Well, if you come back over here, you can see I have Auto Mask Fiber Mesh turned off right now just to do that large rotation. If I turn it back on and then draw a transpose line through the fiber and use rotate, you see it's going to rotate in this nice kind of like bendy curve method. So it's giving that fiber back, that fiber feel, and now you're able to kind of bend it along the surface, so you're still able to root it to the actual mesh and then bend it to kind of get it to taper and have like a more of a gravity type effect on the model. So just another little trick using the transpose line and the Auto Mask Fiber Mesh. Now if you see yourself coming back and forth and turning this on and off quite a bit, there's a solution that you can do that so it's always visible. So if I come over here, you can see there's this divider. If I just click that, it's going to open this side. And then I come to the brush menu and I can just grab this little icon here and just dock it over here on the side. So now this is always going to be visible over here. So now I can sculpt, and then if I need to just turn this on or off quick, I can just come over here instead of have to go to this brush menu and turn it on and off there. So UI, any of these things up at the top can be docked on this side or this side. So it's one little trick. If you end up using a button a lot over and over again and you just want to have it on one side of your screen all the time, you can quickly just dock one of those menus over there. So there we go. We got a good section of the jute lined up. Now I want to merge these all together so they form one subtool, because right now I have my subtool list is starting to grow, so I kind of need to condense it down. So first I'm just going to come over here to the top one and click this off so only that's visible, and I'm just going to go down and just select all of the ones below it and just make sure their eyeball icon is turned on. And now I'm going to come up to the Z plugin here, and I'm going to go to Subtool Master. If you don't have Subtool Master, you can download it from Pixologic's website. It should be standard though with ZBrush 4R4. And I'm going to click Subtool Master, and then I'm going to come over here to Merge, and I'm just going to click that. And it's going to ask me a few questions here. I think by default it's on Merge only, so what it's going to do is just going to merge, but it's going to keep all these subtools still here. I don't really want that. I just want them to merge and then get rid of the old ones because I don't need them anymore. So I'm going to hit Merge and Delete, and then just hit OK. And it's going to go through and calculate quickly and merge them together, and then delete the old ones. So there we go. It went through that process, and now I have one subtool that is all those fibers merged together. Now if I turn on polyframes here and solo it, you can see that all those fibers gave a different polygroup for each of the ones that merged together, and they're also still fiber aware. So if I come in and grab a fiber brush here, say like the hair toss, you can see I can still use any of those groom brushes on the actual fiber. So that's very good. So now you have one nice subtool created. All the other ones have been removed. If you solo here, you can see there's all our fibers. And if we come over and say select the blower brush, and you can see now, come in and actually, still paint or groom these fibers even after they've been merged together. And that's a new feature inside of ZBrush 4R4. Now another thing you'll notice is if I turn on polyframes, that when I did that Subtool Master merge functionality, it left all the clumps as individual polygroups. And what this is going to allow me to do is if I come over to my brush menu here and go to the auto masking tab, there's a slider that says mask by polygroups. So if I turn this up to 100 now, and now go back with my blower, the polygroup that it starts on is the only one that's going to be affected. So this is going to allow me to come in and actually start grooming these fibers, fairly easy to generate variation without affecting all of them. So it's a good way to kind of get some of that uniqueness established out of the fibers without having to do a whole lot of work. So you start getting more random kind of results on the mesh, even though we started with one single fiber strand that we just duplicated along the line. And I'm going to do a quick render of this with BPR so you can kind of see what it looks like. And so there you go. So you can start seeing we're starting to get those jute strands generated. They look like they're attached. And we're starting to get that ghillie kind of effect going. One more quick thing I'm going to show is I'm actually just going to show you how you can actually mirror these and still keep them as fiber mesh aware objects as well. Since there's a lot of ghillie through here, I'm not going to go through the entire video of populating this scene because it's basically just me cloning the objects just like you saw and then moving into position and then just rotating and then merging them together and painting some randomness. But another nice thing with the stuff here is I'm going to Subtool Master. We're going to mirror this on the other side. So if you have one arm done, you can mirror it over the other side and then just go back in real quick with some quick strokes to get some randomness generated. And so it's going to want a new subtool, mirror on the X, and just hit OK. I'm just going to duplicate that fiber on the other side. Now it's its own object, same kind of setup with polygroups. And inside of ZBrush 4R4 now, this is still fiber aware, so I can come in and add, grooming to these objects again to get more randomness out of it. And then do one BPR render so you can kind of see both sides and how it looks. So there you go, you can start seeing I'm starting to get that fiber coloring established on both sides. So here I have the fiber strands generated for that one entire arm. Right now you can see that I haven't merged any of these together yet, so I'll actually merge them eventually and then mirror them onto the other side. Right now I have about 68 subtools in this file, but if you look at my total number of points up here at the top, it's only about 8 million. So by generating these fiber strands extremely low, so it was about 2,000 points per actual clump of fibers, I'm able to populate, you know, this entire model and still keep my total points extremely low. Since BPR does all the tessellation and subdivisions, actually when you hit the button, it's not going to bog your scene down, and so just on render with BPR, you're going to actually get the tessellation and the you know, the heavy areas of these fiber mesh to actually show. So there's the fibers there, and so these haven't been groomed yet either, so I'm going to go ahead and just do a base placement across the entire head and then go in and actually groom them all, and then mirror this arm over on the other side. So on to the head.